Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's LinkedIn Live. I went ahead and put Kay's website in the chat before I forget. Kay Coughlin is my special guest today, and I'm so excited. If you're new to this live and don't know who I am, I'm Allison Henderson, and my company, as you can see there, is Moving Image Consulting. I do nonverbal communication work with teams and individuals. So we always talk on our lives about the body-brain connection, what's happening with our body language and what that's doing to our brain and vice versa. Today, we are going to be talking about the possibility mindset, which is why I asked Kay to join me today. Kay's company is Facilitator on Fire, and she focuses right now on providing for caregivers. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your business, and then we'll gear over into the possibility mindset.
So my focus is on helping generations build trust together, whether that's at home or at work. If it's at the workplace, I have a seminar that I do called Building Trust Across Generations. And when I'm working with people at home, that is with family caregivers. And what I've discovered, so I am a family caregiver. My mother lives in an attached flat next to our house here. And what I learned about being a caregiver is that we all sort of step into a story that kind of is written for us. And it seems like there's these rigid rules and very rigid character profiles. You can see my theater background coming out here. But what it means is that as caregivers, we often feel like we don't have any choices. That's where the possibility mindset came from, because what I realized from my work on myself, as well as with my clients, it's very easy to feel stuck because you literally can't see any other possibility. And that's where my possibility mindset work came from, is making sure that all of my clients understand that there's more out there that they could see if we could remember to look for it.
That really is the crux of it, right? To take that step back and get some perspective, which is the same thing that I'm always working with my clients on in the moment, to have them take that step back and broaden their view. What is actually happening in the room? What's happening with the energy? What's happening with the body language that you're taking in? Because that mindset and the brain side of things that we always talk about, that brain is constantly reading that body language and is making decisions for us that can take things the wrong way sometimes.
And well, our brains like to take the easy way out. It conserves calories to go on the path that it's always known. And whether it's interpreting someone's body language, or especially in family dynamics, thinking that there's only one way to interact with your mom, or one way to interact with your sister, or one way for everyone to react when your auntie calls and throws whatever kind of a wrench in the works always happens. Our brains like it to be easy. And so we repeat patterns. That's what patterns and habits are all about. It's all about conserving calories. And interestingly, though, that part of the brain that really likes the habits and patterns because it's easy, doesn't care if we're happy, doesn't care if we're fulfilled, doesn't care if we're finding meaning in our lives. And so that's what I would call the reaction part of your brain. Your brain is reacting. And the trick is to get your brain to go up into cognition, to think about something, to do something else deliberately. And in this case, it's to say, what else could be possible here?
Do you suggest for clients to put notes to themselves, to remind themselves, or to have a mental checklist of things that they go through? I often will tell my clients, particularly in the virtual world, to put little sticky notes around the computer to remind them of good virtual body language, or something important that they want to make sure that they put into the conversation, I was like, just stick it right up there because nobody else can see it. But
you bet. And it's going to be individual for everyone, but a good starting point is always going to be a Post-it note or lock screen on your phone that says the words, what else could be possible here? Or what else could be here? Or what am I missing? What am I not seeing? Just that reminder. It takes a long time to build a new habit when your brain has been so accustomed into sliding into these old behavioral habits and family dynamics. You have to remind yourself. So yes, that physical reminder, a cue of some sort, is amazing. Actually, upstairs in my house, I have a string of Christmas lights that goes up in January and stays up until about April, because I find the dark days of winter make it harder for me to remember possibilities. And so those twinkling lights are my possibility reminder.
oh, what a great tip. That is so great. So all of those people, when you're driving down the street and you still see people with their Christmas lights up, remember that that's possibilities. Don't be thinking, wow, they need to take their lights down. What are they doing? They're wasting electricity or whatever.
We are still in a pandemic. And for a lot of caregivers, that means that they haven't been able to see the person that they are responsible for, or maybe that they have been kind of locked down with that person for 8 months, 10 months, or 11 months at this point. And so possibilities can feel pretty far away, but just because they're far away doesn't mean they're not there. And I don't want to confuse this with optimism or even positive thinking, and certainly not with gratitude lists. So just to be really clear, the science about positive thinking and gratitude lists is real. Okay, it is no joke. If you can do a gratitude list, if you can find a way to think a positive thought, the likelihood of turning around your own mind chemicals so that you literally have a more positive and happier flood of chemicals is extremely high. The problem with that is that there are a lot of days, and I would even say most days, when I cannot get myself into a positive mindset and I cannot get myself to do a gratitude list. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are told we're supposed to do it and that there's one way to do it. And look, I'm a perfectionist. And so if I feel like I'm doing something wrong, I'm probably not going to do it. So I don't find that to be very available to me necessarily, positive thinking or gratitude. Now they work. Okay. So my fix has been a possibilities mindset. And what happens for me and my clients is it's almost like a bridge. So I'm stuck in a place where I can't see positivity and maybe I can't see anything else. And so I literally say to myself, what else could be possible here? And if I could just find one other thing that could be, it doesn't even have to be positive. It could be another negative outcome. It doesn't make any difference. If I can just find one other thing, it jumpstarts my brain and opens up those juices so that I can see other possibilities. And I think there's a lot of magic in not forcing myself to see positive things, but in just seeing other things.
Oh, if this is speaking to you guys out there, I just want to let you know that Kay has started a podcast where she recorded for every single day during the month of January, except for Sundays. So there is a fantastic resource of great information, and you don't, again, it doesn't have, it's not just caregiver types of thing, it's self awareness types of information and things that are fantastic. So I put this, I think.
Thank you. Yes, that is it. You got it.
Do you see it? So Anchor is where she's at, and you can go there and see all of the recordings. And you know that she has this fantastic theater background and has a really soothing, wonderful voice when it comes to listening to her wisdom. And so I encourage everybody to go over there and check those out and follow or definitely go to her website and sign up for the newsletter. She has a book that she has written, which is also on there. It is geared towards caregivers, but again, so much of this information is universal. I can't imagine that there aren't wonderful things in there for you, because you don't have to only be sandwich generation to apply this information. One of the other things that I wanted to make sure that we touched on, because we had this great conversation on the idea of, again, what's happening in that kind of reptilian brain of ours, where we are judging, kind of goes back to that judging and taking us out of possibilities. So when that happens for you, because I know I always bring the body language piece into things, besides, when you stop to take that breath and go, okay, I need some possibilities, to help your brain go there, because it's probably fighting you tooth and nail to look for possibilities. I want you to think of actually opening up and broadening your physical presence, and literally open your mind and take in the world around you. Particularly right now, with everything being virtual and everything being tied to our computers, it is actually impeding our ability to see possibilities, because we're so focused on looking into that camera and keeping that eye contact and making sure that we're smiling and keeping our energy while we're on virtual. And as soon as we turn off our cameras, we go, right? And we're like, oh, I'm so glad to be off this call. Well, during the call, if you need to take that moment and look around the room, because you need to open your brain and your eyes literally to other possibilities, and it will open your focus so that those possibilities have a better chance of landing and actually making it through, if that makes sense. Or if you're being shut down by someone in a meeting, which Kay had a great example of this. If you feel like you're being judged or put down, or something is happening in the moment, rather than your natural reaction is going to also shut down or be defensive or be negative back to them, if you can physically give them the better signal, which is, and maybe you just need to close your mouth, but you can open up your physical presence to kind of show them that you're not shutting down, or that you're not having that effect on them.
So the cognition equivalent of that, and the way to reinforce that with the words that come out of your mouth while you're opening up your body language, which I do believe in. And I have to say, for anyone who's watching this, Allison has helped me become a better facilitator and coach and teacher by helping me with my body language, which I already thought was pretty good. And so did she. And yet it has helped me enormously. So the cognitive way to support that, when you're in a situation where you feel threatened, which is what your lizard brain does, it responds by feeling threatened, and then you do fight or flight or freeze, right? The cognitive way to support that is to ask a question. And I mean a genuine question, and not like, well, don't you think you're great? Right? That is not the kind of question that is going to support open body language and connectivity coming from that cognitive place. It's to ask a real question. My fallback question always is, can you tell me more about that? Or just tell me more. That is an open, honest, genuine question. It puts me right into curiosity. Curiosity is a fabulous way to re-engage and reconnect, even when you are feeling threatened, because curiosity forces your brain to go into that state of cognition, of thinking about things. So get curious and ask a genuine question. Can you tell me more about that? Tell me more. That's going to get you there. And your body language, together with asking a real question, is going to lower the pressure.
Yeah, fantastic tip for all of you leaders out there. And again, it works virtually or in person. One of the possibilities that I keep reiterating over and over and over again is the idea that these signals that we're learning and how we're learning to communicate virtually, those will transfer back to face-to-face. And if you are thinking that you are tired of virtual and can't wait to get back to the office, remember that all of the energy and all of the connections that you have made virtually can transfer. So don't leave all of that knowledge of the past 11, 12 months behind, but take that with you. And my new program that I should plug is called Beyond the Box, which is literally how are you going beyond this screen back to face or in person. This is still face to face, but it's like social distancing. It's physical distancing. Anyway,
Yeah.
one of my pet peeves through this whole thing is that we call it social distancing. But we do go back when we get back to in person, there was probably still going to be somebody on your screen. So we need to figure out what this new hybrid type of meeting is going to be. We're going to have more people now that we've hired folks from all over the country, now that our networking groups have expanded all over the country, that we're going to be in a position, if you're a trainer, if you're a speaker, if you lead meetings, you're going to be in a position to have people in front of you and people on the screen together.
There's going to be a lot more going on there than just that confusion of some people being on screens and some people being in person, because we're also going to be mixing cultures at that point. So that's something that I see happen a lot with families, with family caregivers, is there are definite cultural expectations of what caregivers do and don't do. But if you translate that into the office, on any given team, you're going to have a number of different people who have different expectations that they bring from their family life, that they bring from their education, that they bring from their culture. Now, what we were used to was having most people, for the most part, living regionally fairly close to one another. And so they all spoke the same sort of cultural language, whether that was body language or expectations about work hours, whether it's okay to drink a cup of coffee in a meeting or not. It was pretty easy to kind of get with the program and be with the culture. Once we have people coming in from all over the world, or even just different areas of the United States or of North America, we are going to find those cultural difficulties all of a sudden are going to become very prominent because they're going to be everywhere. They're almost going to be ubiquitous. And learning the body language and the words, the cognitive skills to be curious rather than offended is going to go a long way towards productivity, towards efficiency, towards success, towards any outcome that you're looking for. That ability to be curious with your body as well as with your words is going to pay off in spades.
This has been a fantastic conversation. I can't thank Kay enough for joining me as my first guest and rolling with the punches today with all of our little technical things.
And it's really, it's if you're a family caregiver, and also if you're worried about having different generations in the office, whether you happen to be a family owned business, and so you're talking about generations of family in the office, which is its whole other animal, or if you're a leader or even a team member and you think you're struggling because there are people of different ages who are struggling to work together, I'm here to tell you, you're right. If you feel in your gut like that's probably going on, it is. And that is my area of expertise for the workplace. So if you want to talk about those generations, I am completely fascinated by the way people of different ages communicate, and also by the stereotypes that we have about one another, which don't tend to be true. That's the problem with stereotypes, is they don't tend to actually be true for any one individual. I would love to talk at any time. I'm completely passionate about this stuff, as I'm sure you can tell.
Right. And she's a great speaker as well. So, bring her in for your, even if they're virtual events, this knowledge needs to get out there. And her perspective is always fresh and really on the money. And I think I'd put in one of my posts on LinkedIn something, if you want to hear straight talk, that's Kay is the best at it. She's not going to beat around the bush with you. She's going to give you the information as it really is.